Hello, I'm your host, Leonard Duncan. Welcome to a new episode of ATV-TALK and Motorsports Podcast. Please join us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We bring you interviews with industry professionals, live events, live news about the motorsports industry in every episode. Enjoy the show. Whether we are out riding with our friends and family or racing in extreme environments, we all need good tires. That's why I recommend GBC Power Sports Tires, a division of Greenball Corp. Their products, which include XC Master, Mini Master, and Groundbuster 3, are what leading professionals in the ATV-UTV industry are using. You can get your tires at greenballtires.com or find them on Instagram as GBC Tires for further inquiries. Are you looking for the best suspension technology for your sport ATV? Look no further than Elka Suspension, the industry leader in sport ATV suspension technology. With championship wins in prestigious events such as the Dakar Rally, SCORE, Best in the Desert, ATV MX, Cross Country, and Works, Elka Suspension has established itself as the go-to choice for athletes and enthusiasts alike. But they don't just stop at ATVs. They're constantly expanding into new markets, including UTVs, trucks, SUVs, pit bikes, snowmobiles, and more. Their commitment to innovation and quality means they're always looking to improve and adapt so you can enjoy a smooth ride wherever you go. Want to learn more about what Elka Suspension can do for you? Visit their website at elkasuspension.com or give them a call at 450-655-4855. They will always be happy to answer your questions and help you find the perfect suspension solution for your needs. Wrangell, how are you, buddy? Welcome back to ATV Talk. How was Norra?
Oh, it was good, man. Thanks for having me back. I always enjoy being on the show and getting to chat with you.
Oh, dude, I love it. Ever since that we got to go ride your three-wheeler out there in Arizona, I tell everybody about it. You know, you got to, anybody that wants to ride a three-wheeler, dude, you got to go ride one of these modern day conversion 4-strokes because they're it. You know?
They are fast. There's no doubt about it. When you rode it too, I had probably about 25 or 30% of the power taken out of it. Not intentionally. It's just the way it was. But we did a few extra things, and it's still stock. It is bone stock inside. That is a fact. It has considerably more power now.
It's okay. It's fast enough for me the way it was.
Yeah, it was.
I want to ride it detuned in. I want the little throttle governor left in place. Okay.
Yeah. It was fast before, but it's man, it's unruly now. It just every time you're on the throttle, the front end's off the ground. It's something else.
Well, the main gist of this was the first time I had you on, we talked about the Norra and that you were going to ride it this year, and there was this big build up for this. You spent a year getting yourself, your mind ready and entry, and talking about it. I know the result wasn't where you wanted, but I want to talk about, how does somebody get involved with the Norra stuff, and how did you get involved with it?
So, first off, I got to say that I had a great opportunity from Lyle Tonelli. You have to excuse my voice. I caught something down in Mexico, and I'm still getting over it here. So, but I had a really good opportunity with Lyle Tonelli. After winning Vegas to Reno in 2021, Nick Tonelli hit me up and said, "Hey, we're looking for a rider for our team to go do the Norra 1000." And in 22, unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it. But last year, I hit him up and said, "Hey, if you guys still need a rider, I'm down to come down." And Lyle and his family, they're such amazing people. Just so loving and helpful, and every one of them is just, they're on it with the media, they're on it with helping out and doing everything they can. So they have a really great program. And really, I mean, that was my first experience in Mexico, period. I had never been to Mexico. And they showed me the ropes, and he makes it look easy. But it's something that, you know, if it's well planned and thought out, there's plenty of information out there. I think anybody could do it, and I want to encourage anybody that has ever wanted to race in Mexico. If you've ever thought of racing a score race or something like that, you should probably start off with Norra, just because it's on a more relaxed pace and atmosphere, and easier to figure out. The big score races and stuff, they just, you know, it's 24 hours of just insanity. Where with Norra, at least it's like, you know, you get some time to rest in between each stage. And it is, it's very intimidating, obviously. Like, a lot of people don't know about these road books and everything, and I didn't know anything about them either until last year. And so figuring all that out would be kind of difficult, but I would encourage anybody that has any questions, contact Lyle Tonelli or contact me, and I'll tell you everything I know about how to get these set up for this. It's not a huge deal. RMS, they make some really nice mounts that just attach to your handlebars to make it super easy. You know, if you have some fab skills and whatnot, you can see I built a full rally tower, like a Dakar style rally tower here. That's a bit more difficult, but not necessary. Yeah, I mean,
what you're getting into is there's a tracking device that they put on the machine.
There was actually, there's two tracking devices. So you have your Stella. It's not on here right now. It sits up top in the corner here. Stella is a tracker, and it is by far, I've used it now numerous times. I've used it actually more now. I've used it more than racing tracks, and nothing against racing tracks. They're doing their best, but the Stella is next level. It's by far better tracking, and it has your degrees, we call cap heading. Has your degrees, it has your speed, it has just tons and tons of information. Push to pass on a motorcycle. Racing tracks can't do that. So push to pass, warnings when you come up on a big time hazard or something like that. Big bright red flashing light, bam, bam, bam in your face with a loud alarm. You can look at that. Look at your road book right below it, and you can see if you're in the right spot. You can see where the road hazard is. It's very intuitive. The safest setup that I've ever used by far. So it's really not that difficult. When you look at the whole thing and you've never seen it, yeah, it can be pretty intimidating, but it's once you get to use it. I mean, for instance, there was a guy on Lyle's team, Michael. He had never raced a motorcycle ever. And he picked it up within minutes, and he was out there flying on that thing. At one point he ended up getting ahead of me. And I couldn't believe how well he was doing on the turns and everything. So I think that, and that was with zero experience. So, and I picked it up right away too last year when I did it. So really it's just paying attention to your notes on the road book. There's plenty of videos on YouTube on how to do that. And then paying attention to you have an odometer on this side, and then you have your Stella, but they both have odometers technically. If you're paying attention to those and those are correct, and you're reading your road book and just taking it easy, anybody can figure it out. It's really not that bad. As far as planning for it goes, Norra makes it very simple. They will tell you each day where you need to get hotels, what you need to do, and where you're going to be. And really, one chase truck can chase the whole thing. We had one truck that I built for the chase. Our whole crew was in the truck. We just all switched off driving and whatnot. Driving's not that bad. The biggest thing you have to do is avoid potholes. When I mean potholes, I mean things that can total cars. Potholes are like, I saw potholes down there that were probably every bit of 18, 24 inches deep. No joke. So you got to be good at avoiding potholes. But other than that, I mean, I would really strongly encourage anybody that has ever wanted to race in Baja, do it with Norra. It's the safest way to go. And the learning curve really isn't that bad.
So it's a staged race.
It is staged. It's a rally style race. So like Dakar or some of these other rallies. So there's no GPS. They do have GPS classes, by the way. You can do, I can't remember, I think it's the vintage classes have GPS. So you can just follow your GPS and on the vintage, which makes it easier for them. It was kind of funny, on day one, I was absolutely so tired, I was out of my mind. And I couldn't concentrate on the road book and comprehend what I was reading and retain it and ride fast at the same time. I could ride fast or I could read the book. I couldn't do both. And so it was funny, I'd pass all these vintage moto guys. Some of those guys are fast. But I pass all these vintage moto guys just flying by them. And then I'd miss a turn. And you quickly realize, when your road book doesn't start matching up, and turns aren't there and stuff, you realize you got to turn around, you got to go back, and then you have to reset your odometer at the last place was correct. And then guess what? The vintage moto guys were ahead of me again, and I have to pass them again. That happened like 3 times in the first day, and I bet they were laughing at me. But they had GPS, so it was way easier for them. So you can do GPS, or you can do the road book. The road book's a lot more fun, in my opinion.
So did you guys go to hotels every night, or did you camp with the chase truck, or how did you facilitate your team?
So I spent most of my time preparing for this race, actually building a toter home. It's less toter home and more box truck right now. But we actually took a Cummins Dodge and stretched it and put a big box in the back and an RV door and everything. And I'm still going to, I'm going to fully outfit it with a shower and a bathroom and the kitchen and everything, but we didn't quite get that far. So our plan was to actually stay in a hotel in Ensenada. And then we were going to stay in a nice hotel at Cabo as like a treat at the end. And we were going to stay in the box truck the whole time. And so we brought pre-prepared food. My wife did an amazing job, and Crystal, Julian's girlfriend, did an amazing job preparing food and having everything ready, all the water and everything. So we could have done that. We got incredibly lucky, like a week before the race, because we had called. Julian and I tried over and over and over to get hotels. After they announced the registration opening, the hotels sell out like right now. So if you guys want to do this, you've got to be on it, the hotels. Otherwise, you're not going to get one. And then you'll be sleeping in a tent. And so we waited about 2 or 3 weeks after the opening, and that was all it took. We didn't get a single hotel except for in Cabo. And about a week before the race, my wife called all these places, and I don't know how, but all of them had openings. So we were able to get a hotel in every town, except for San Ignacio, which is a little tiny town in the middle of the peninsula. But it's okay, because most of these towns have like really nice RV parks, really nice. They have hot showers, they have laundromats, they have everything you could want, restaurants and everything else. So if you really wanted to, you could go down there with a pickup truck and a tent and tent camp the whole way down and not be miserable at all. You can have a hot shower, hot meals.
Whoa. Who are you talking to, bro?
Yeah. and that would be roughing it. So, if you want to bring an RV down, I wouldn't suggest chasing in an RV. You might want a truck for that. Maybe send the RV ahead to go park in the RV spots. You could do it in an RV. You can do it with hotels. And the hotels, total cost for hotels, if you count the hotel, we got a really nice hotel in Cabo. If you counted all of the hotels, I think you would spend like maybe $1,500 in hotels. So, and that's just on the way there. It doesn't count on the way home.
How many miles did you race per day?
So most days were anywhere from 150 to 250, almost 300 miles.
What time were you starting?
6 in the morning.
Oh, so you had time to get to the finish line, do prep on the machine, you know, so you didn't have to rush through it to get rest. You were able to work at a steady pace.
Yeah, that's the nice part is, the coolest thing about Norra, and no other association does this. Norra really, they really try to cater to the racers and whatnot and do a good job. And they're unlike any other association. But when you get to the finish line every night, I mean, you cross the finish line and they hand you a cold beer if you want one. They hand you tickets for drinks. They hand you tickets for a meal. You go in, they have a hot and really good food too most of the time. You walk in, they have a celebration at the finish line where you have a hot meal. Have your drinks if you want, and then you have as much time as you need basically. You can work through the night if you want to, or if you have to, but you can work on the bike and then get some good rest. Next morning you do it again. It's like, I've had people say, well, it's not like a race because it's broken up over days. No, it's absolutely a race. It's like 6 races, 200 to 300-mile races back to back each day. It's like doing a full desert racing season in 1 week. It's freaking awesome.
Do they penalize you for motor replacement or anything like that?
No, it's not like Dakar. So you can pretty much do whatever you need to do. You can't switch vehicles. So if you completely lost your, you could swap frames, which, but they wouldn't want you to swap out a whole bike or anything like that. That would be cheating for sure. You can swap engines, swap frames, swap whatever you need to swap.
So if you had a backup motor, you could swap it on day 3 if you chose to.
Absolutely. Yep.
Wow. That's pretty
cool. It's a lot of work. It's hard to do, but certain bikes, but this one's not easy to swap an engine on. But we'd do it if we had an extra engine.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, yes, you can be a serious racer and you can also be a recreational racer at the same time.
You could go down there, you race your race. You can go down there and just read the road book and be out for a Sunday cruise and come in each night. You can come in dead last, and they're going to be cheering you on the whole way. And you're going to come in there, they're going to hand you beer, you're going to get the same meal, you're going to eat at the same place, and you're going to get the same celebration every day. And some of these guys are dead serious. Or you can go down there and you can be, a 100% A-team racer if you want, and be out, with the switch on kill the whole time. So it's all what you want. It's truly the funnest race in the world. They don't say that for no reason. It is such a good time. Like I said, I would encourage anybody to do it. It's such a blast.
Are you setting your sights on next year?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
And how expensive is the entry? Like, I know some of the desert race guys are complaining that the fees to race desert stuff is getting, out of hand.
It is. I will tell you, it is expensive. But if you think about the logistics that they have to go through to put that race on, it's monumental. And so it is expensive, but here's the way you got to look at it. What is a desert race season going to cost you to do? And then you look at that versus what you're getting. It's pretty dang close. It's a little higher than a normal desert racing season, but that desert racing season doesn't give you a bronze trophy at the end, like a serious piece of hardware. They don't give you meals every day. They don't give you, drinks, and any kind of drink. It doesn't matter. I'm talking about alcohol, but they don't give you drinks at the end. They don't have celebrations with music at the end of each day. So they do a lot for you. This program here, entry fees for my 3-wheeler here was almost $6,000. So.
And how do the locals treat you?
Oh, the locals are amazing. I mean, of course you run into, a bad apple every now and then, but where don't you? But most of the locals, and I mean like 99% of them, you come across, man, they're just happy to see you. You know, they're super polite. They just want to know what's going on and what they want to know about your bike. They want to shake your hand. They want to, you know, the locals are amazing. I love the locals down there. One of the coolest things, one of the highlights for me was Guero Negro on day 3 when I started. I went through this little fishing village on the coast, and it's just gorgeous. And I'm going through this little fishing village, and all the little kids are running out of their houses and they're running up to the side of the road and, you know, cheering you on and stuff. The parents are right there too. They're cheering you on too. And I'm high-fiving little kids and stuff as I'm going by. And I was just like, man, it like brings a tear to your eye. You're like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, because none of the other score events do that. They don't go to that area like that, do they?
Yeah, I mean they avoid congested areas, and in Norra, you end up going through congested areas. So like that particular area right there, I think the speed limit was like 12 miles an hour or something. It was in kilometers, of course, but like 20 kilometers an hour or something. It was really, really slow. So I was just putting through town, and you get a chance to look around and see, you know, the sea life. You get to see where how people live down there and everything. And like I said, the locals are all cheering you on, and man, it just feels good, you know, and showing those people love too, you know, and respect for their country. So yeah, it's nothing like people would have you believe. You know, everybody says it's so scary going down there and everything else. We've never had a scary moment. We've never ran into people that made us angry. We've never felt unsafe. My wife was down there with me. Julian's girlfriend was down there with me. We walked around towns. We had a great time. You know, it's the people that are scared. I think they just haven't been there.
And they're scared to be scared because, you know, I go to Mexico too, and I'm married to a native, and you know, we go everywhere, and it's no issue.
Yeah.
If you stay away from the bad elements, which it's very easy to do.
Yeah.
The problem is you get arrogant Americans that think they can do whatever they want. You have zero rights in that country. You know,
100%.
you need to respect every person in every restaurant and everywhere you go, and embrace the culture, because they're a loving people. They really are.
Yeah. I mean, like I tell people, it's like, would you get hammered drunk or even just be a loudmouth and walk down Haight-Ashbury at 2 a.m?
Nope.
Or would you, you know, like Reno here, would you walk down 4th Street being a loudmouth drunk at 4 a.m, 3 a.m?
Yeah, there we would. Yeah, there we would.
Yeah, right. But it's like there's places in your hometown. I don't care who's listening. There's places in your hometown you probably wouldn't go at 2 a.m. It's the same thing. You don't be a drunk idiot and go out to the bars and, you know, and start stuff with locals, man. You keep your nose down, you do your thing, and everybody's cool.
Yeah, show respect. Just show respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's universal wherever you go in the world. So my question is, I've been to the FIM rallies and the Dakar. Do you think that they could come in and race this event as a Norra FIM event rally and put it together so that they could have a real rally in Mexico?
Yeah, so I'm kind of hoping, you know, and I was going to talk to the Norra guys about this, but I'm kind of hoping that with Dakar dropping the ATVs, that was a serious disappointment. I have zero interest in Dakar now at all. Like, do not care about Dakar when they dropped the ATVs, because I actually had aspirations of running Dakar one day. And I'm just hoping that Norra can pick some of those guys up, you know, from South America and whatever, and they can start racing with us down there. It'd be awesome to start seeing some quad guys. Let's go. Come on, get your rally equipment. It's like, this stuff's like $1,000. Buy it, put it on your bike. Let's roll. You know?
Yeah, I would hope that there's something, you know, why they dropped the ATVs, don't you?
You know,
So
I hate
here's
to
the
be
deal.
jaded, but I'm gonna say
They
that it's just
dropped.
about money.
No, it's not about money. It's about space. They have 120 spots.
Yep,
Aprilia and uh, Ducati want to
yep,
run the rally, so they were out of places. So instead of dumping the lower level motorcycles, they
yeah,
dumped the ATVs.
yeah. Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at is they have a limited amount of spots. So rather than who would they rather have there? A high paying, factory team or Joe Blow on ATC, ATV? They're
No,
gonna
they kept all the Joe Blow motorcycle guys though.
yeah, I know. Yeah, it's just the ATV guys always get the stick, unfortunately, and ATC before them. So
Totally. Yeah, it's a joke.
yeah,
Organization.
it,
The organization realistically is a joke as well.
yeah,
But I don't want to get into it.
yeah.
I'm not a fan of the FIM and the FIA or whoever they think they are at the given time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd like to see, I'll be honest with you, this is kind of a call out to all you associations. I don't know if, all these guys are watching, but kind of a call out to these associations. I want to see more ATVs. I want to see more ATCs. There is tons and tons and tons of guys that would love to do this stuff. But somehow some of these associations they have to step their game up. So
I think in the whole, which you talked about this, and let's just get into it right now, and switch gears a little bit before we go on to more about the race.
yeah,
Advertising and accessibility to Norra, Best in the Desert, Legacy is horrible. They rely
it's
on their website. They don't do enough social media.
yeah,
The story for Norra, like I was telling you um, before we started, it's
yeah.
almost impossible to find information.
Yeah, it's crazy because I'm sitting there racing the race and my team is sitting there looking and we couldn't find any information. It was just, you can go on there, you can find the results each day, which they're hard to read if you don't understand, the rally lingo. But the lack of information that came out of Norra this year was seriously disappointing. So it's the best way I can put it politely. I think I don't really know. I'm talking with Julian about it. I'm trying to understand. I think we lost the first stage to the Tonellis. I could be wrong, but what's weird is we started in front of them the next day, so that tells me we were ahead. So I don't really know on stage one, but stage two and stage three, we were the winners. And there's not a single post or picture of this three-wheeler. In fact, then after that, Lyle took over and he was a stage winner of the final stages. And this might be Julian right here. Day one results. Oh, I couldn't read it fast enough. Anyways, he took over and there was not a single post of him. Nothing on the start, nothing on the stages, nothing, zero information. And there was a single obscure photo of him on the podium at the end, but not a single mention on a post or anything. And I'm not talking about just ATCs, I'm talking about the motorcycles too. There was literally a handful of motorcycle posts, and it didn't talk about all the classes and where the people were at. All they could talk about was the friggin' UTVs over and over and over and over and over.
Well, the only reason that I even caught the article at all was, we have to give our condolences to the families that lost family members. There was two unfortunate deaths during the race. And hey, we never want to hear about those kind of things happening to anybody. We want everybody always to go home. So to those families that lost, we wish you the best and prayers and Godspeed. But that's the only reason I found it. It was because of that.
Yeah, that's the first thing we saw too was the deaths, and we're like, well, the first guy was in the first stage. He actually just had a heart attack.
In the beginning of the race.
Yeah, beginning of the race, and so it wasn't a race wreck or anything like that, race related, unfortunately, and it's too bad. I really felt bad for him and his family, and then the other guy, He was in stage 4, I think. And he rolled the car, and another car that was behind him was chasing dust and never even saw the car. You know, they should have seen, because when you come up on another car, you come up on another bike or whatever, it warns the car. It tells you, hey, there's somebody right in front of you. Well, the automatic thought is when you're in the dust, you know, because I've raced cars myself, the automatic thought is when you're in the dust that dust is being created by a car that's in front of you racing. Your first thought isn't, oh, that car's upside down, you know,
Right.
facing the wrong way on the track or something. So these guys, they get in the dust and they just hammer down, and you don't know what's in that dust. That's the scariest part for me about desert racing. You don't know what's in that dust. It could be me in the dust. You know, I'm not as fast as a class 1 car or something crazy.
Your traction.
Yeah, and I have no cage around me or anything like that. And those guys will never, they think they're chasing dust, they'll just plow right into you. And so unfortunately that guy rolled, and I don't know if he's upside down or what he was, but anyways, driver's side ended up towards the track, and another car T-boned him right in the door at full speed. So really unfortunate, man. I feel really bad for that guy. He's been racing for 23 years or something with Norra or something like that. So,
Wow.
yeah, pretty unfortunate.
That's a bummer. But yeah, the publicity for all of these guys is horrible. And this is not the first time that we've talked about it.
Yeah.
You know, we reached out with Brett Greenholtz, who races Best in the Desert, and there's almost no media coverage unless you're involved with it. You don't get any coverage.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. It seems like it's across the board with all the associations. The one association that I would say is on it right now is Norra. They have my good buddy Jeff Waldias on there, and Jeff is just an amazing photographer, and they get pictures out right away. All the other associations, honestly, the photography's pathetic.
But the media coverage is even worse.
Yeah, the media coverage is bad. If these association owners want to drive the sport, they want to get more people involved, they have got to get on advertising. They have got to get on the media coverage of these races. It just seems like a massive loss of opportunity to have these races, and nothing comes out of them. You know, it's like so-and-so won. It's like, well, what happened during the day? Like, what, you know?
Right. I totally understand. I totally understand. You know,
yeah, I agree. I don't know if they need to come up with some sort of a budget, and you know, they need somebody that's professional media person like Jeff Waldias does, not just as somebody that takes pictures, but somebody that actually gets out there and makes the post, does the work. And I think Jeff's the best guy in the industry right now, personally.
I put it out there to almost every series. You know, we'll have you on the show. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about your event, and then we'll post on all of our social media your banners, you know, your event banners, so that people will know what's going on, to cover not only all of our listeners, maybe that aren't even ever going to race a race like that, but now it's reached further into the community.
Yeah,
because they have a relative or a friend that'll go, hey, you know what, I want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they say, hey, this is coming to town. We got a bike ready. Let's go. You know, we did Laughlin last year with Best in Desert, and I was running around town looking for a front brake rotor because I smashed it on a rock the day before. And I was talking to all the locals, and every single motorcycle shop that I went to, not a single person there knew about the Laughlin race that was happening in town. And it's like, Best in Desert didn't contact every that would be the first thing I would do, is contact every motorcycle shop. Hey, let me send you a flyer.
So back in the 80s, we used to get a flyer for the nationals that were not even in our state.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's unfortunate. It just, you know, it's going to take a lot more media coverage. It's going to take a lot more effort from these associations if they want these things to grow, especially in this economy. The economy's bad, let's face it. Not everybody can afford, you know, a $6,000 entry to go race in Baja. Me, I don't know why that happened. Oh, I must have got unplugged. Excuse me 1 second, I apologize. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but anyways, yeah, it's gonna take a lot more effort on these guys, these guys' part to grow the industry. But for me personally, yeah, $6,000, but if you prepare all year, it's really not that bad. If you just consider it's like 6 races back to back, it equals out, and you're gonna have one heck of a good time. And I nothing against the other associations, but they've got nothing on Norra as far as having fun and enjoying yourself down there. And you're in Baja; it's freaking beautiful. The place is amazing.
I think
and,
that it's like you and Julian had each other to help work on the machine. You had 2 guys. You could knock the prep out in an hour, maybe 2 at max.
Yep.
Have a leisurely dinner. Get a decent night's rest, and then get up and do it again the next day. Even on your 300-mile days, which is what, 5 hours of racing.
Yeah.
Do you end in the town where you're going to stay?
Yeah. Yeah. So you end normally some of the places you pull up like right to the hotel you're going to be staying at. So there was actually one thing that was kind of weird about this year is there was actually a lot of transfer sections where we would race 100 miles, roughly, and then you would load up in the truck and you would drive 100 miles, and then you would unload and you'd race for 200 miles, and then you would load up in the truck and you would go to the finish. You could ride those sections if you want, but I don't know if you have ever ridden 40 or 50 miles on the highway on one of these things. But I never have, and I don't think I ever want to either. But yeah, it was kind of weird to have those transfer sections. But it worked out.
All I know is we were in South America in 2009 for the Dakar, and one of our sections, we ended early in the day, and we didn't get to the bivouac till like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And you just shake your head. Why would you have us ride and drive that long?
Yeah.
After the race? And that was all part of the race, because if you didn't get into the bivouac in time, and I think we made it by 5 minutes or something like that. We had some tire issues and other issues, not during the race, all after, all on the road headed towards that bivouac. And it was crazy because there were people sleeping on the side of the road because it was such a long deal. And I like that it ends super close to where you're going to be for the night. So if your campground is half mile down the road, you're still right there. That sounds like an amazing event. I think it would be great to even just go chase it. We would just drive on the road and go to the finish line every day and the starting line every day. It would be awesome.
Oh, it's a blast. I encourage anybody that's ever wanted to race down there. I mean, you've raced down there a bunch, but anybody that's ever wanted to go down there, just do like that. Like go down and chase for some people, or just go down and watch. You can pay for your wristband for a participant or whatever it's called. Anyways, the support. You can pay for a wristband, and you get all those meals each day. I think it's like $200. And you get the meals, you get to go hang out with everybody, you get to talk with everybody, you can chase the whole race yourself or just hang out or whatever. And some guys do that. They just go down and follow the race. So yeah, it's a great time.
I think it would be awesome. Get a media band and just go and, do the interviews and talk to everybody and enjoy the hospitality of all the different forms of vehicles that are in the race, and get to see a beautiful countryside.
Absolutely. Yep.
So let's get into this. Are you going to build a new machine, or are you going to race the same machine?
No, I'm definitely going to race the same machine. I'm not done with this Yamaha. This thing it's been a little bit of a fight. And I'll be honest with you, it's been self-inflicted. Just part failures that we couldn't have foreseen that had nothing to do with the Yamaha. Twice now have gotten us. So it's a learning experience, and the thing is so freaking fast in the desert. It's hard to explain. Julian got off the bike, and after he did his first real experience on it, he rode it with you that day, but his first experience was jumping on the bike and doing 100 miles with zero experience. And he got off the bike when he was done, and I'm like, what do you think? And he was like dumbfounded. He goes, dude, that's the fastest thing I've ever ridden in my freaking life. He said, it's scary fast. And he's like, I'm like, so what'd you think of the suspension and stuff? And he's like, dude, there's so many times when I thought I had to check up hard, on one of the old vintage bikes where I would have to check up hard. He's like, and I'd go through it and it would just like it was nothing, and he's like, and then I started realizing, he's like, I could hold it pinned through things that I would normally slam on the brakes on the vintage stuff. He's like, I could hold it pinned and it was nothing. He said, it soaked it all up and wanted more. And I told him, I said, yeah, that's the difference. And the 450 power, I don't care what anybody says, nothing's faster than that 450 as far as two strokes go or vintage stuff goes. I'm sorry, I hate to be that way, but it's the truth.
Oh, I agree. I think that they are.
Yeah.
The thing that amazed me so much about them is the actual way they ride. Comfort, stability, the suspension soaks up everything that you throw at it. And then you go riding the beloved 250R, which is, sacrilegious to say that it's not the greatest thing ever, but it was in the day, but the suspension is wanting.
It was, it was, and it's still a great machine. And it can be improved on quite a bit. You can do quite a bit to make them a lot better, like Lyle's done with his. You can update the suspension to the 450 stuff in the back. You can put inverts on the stuff, on the forks and whatnot. You have to do quite a bit of strengthening on the frame to make them put up with those inverts on the front and all that. So you can make them work better. And like Lyle's machine, I mean, he had a gnarly wreck on day 3, and the thing looked like the Terminator, but it got to the finish line. And so, the 250R is definitely still relevant. I just think that it's just a different world. It's 40 years of technology difference. It's kind of hard to compare.
Right. I agree. So you don't have a plan to do Vegas to Reno or any of the 1,000-mile races they're going to have next year for Best in the Desert and Legacy? Do you have any plans to do any of that?
So as far as Vegas to Reno this year goes, I'm not really sure. After this race, I kind of was, I don't know. My plan before this race was to race this one. We have a GP in like 2 weeks, local GP, and then I was going to do Vegas to Reno, and that was going to be it for the season. Because I just ran so hard last year doing 2 seasons, and I got 2 championships. That was cool. But I didn't want to do as much this year. But after doing this race, now I'll be honest with you, I kind of just want to concentrate on Baja. I don't really. Vegas to Reno is fun, but it's not Baja, and so I don't know. I really don't know. In the next month or so, I'll have a better idea. My plan was to race Vegas to Reno this year, so we'll see. I kind of got the bike set up for rally right now. I can easily turn it back, for desert, but it needs a bit of work now to get it back into desert racing condition. But yeah, as far as next year goes, as of right now, what I can tell you is my full effort is for Norra. And I just really wish that some people watching this, somebody gets another team together, bring some people down. Let's do Norra. you won't regret it. I promise you. If you do it once, you will be back the next year. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Best in Desert is having a really hard time right now. And I haven't said this, I haven't voiced it, but I'm going to voice it now. They've had a really hard time, and I know they're struggling financially. And I mean, they still have yet, they owe me my season championship trophy, and they owe me another trophy too. And I'm pretty disappointed in them right now. So it makes it discouraging to want to race with them, with something like that.
I understand. I totally understand. I have had information from both series that are held in Nevada, and I hope they both can survive.
Yeah, I wish them the best. I hope that Best in Desert makes a full turnaround, and I know they're trying. Megan's a friend of mine. She runs basically the whole show there. That chick is so hardworking. She's such an amazing person. And man, she's being ridden hard. And I wish that she would get some relief. I wish them the best. I hope they do well. In this economy, it's hard. Maybe with a different president and a better economy, things will turn around, hopefully. So next year could be very exciting. They have a 1,000-mile race as well. That they plan on doing. So
yeah, next year, Best in the Desert's going to have one, and so is Legacy.
Yeah, and being that they're talking about June, that makes it hard for me to go do the Norra, and then back to back come back and do 1,000-mile point-to-point race in America. So yeah, I would tentatively like to say that I will try to Ironman that 1,000 next year with Legacy.
Really? Ironman it? Why would you choose to Ironman it? Just
something to prove to myself. So I think mentally I can do it, and I think physically I can do it too. So
okay. Skylar Holmes just won the Silver State 300 on his rally machine.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, beat the pros on a pro rally bike. I love it.
Well, Skylar, his backstory is friggin' awesome. For anybody that doesn't know it, they should look it up. That guy's a legend.
Oh, totally. Phenomenal on a motorcycle too.
No doubt. Yep. Him and my buddy Ricky. Raybeck.
Right.
Yeah.
Both of them.
So,
there's a lot of talent out there in so much of the sport. What I don't understand is why haven't you talked David Ham into going down with Wiley and running Norra?
Unfortunately, I think that I'm not pointing any fingers or anything, but I think some of the guys from that team have interest, but others are, I don't know if it's a fear thing of the country. I think a lot of it's the fear of the country. Or I've heard grumblings that they say it's not a real race. I'm here to tell you, it is absolutely a real race. It's 6 races in 6 days, 100% real races. They are very difficult. There's nothing easy about them. And you don't just follow arrows like you do desert racing. You got to follow this road book. And wish I had it out of there so I could show you guys, but basically it's a paper scroll, and it literally has like a little picture on there, and it'll have like a Y in the road, and it'll have a tree right here and a rock over here, and it's at kilometer 56.4, and you're looking at your odometer and you're like, okay, I'm coming up 56.2, 56. Oh, here's the turn. Here's a Y, and it may not be exact. It might be a few tenths off, but you come up and there's a Y and there's a rock and a tree. You're like, okay, this is my left, and you go. And then every time you hit a waypoint, your odometer on your Stella zeroes out. It doesn't zero, it goes to the correct odometer reading. And then your other odometer over here on the other side, you can correct that to the Stella. So you make sure it always matches. So every time you hit a waypoint, you know everything's correct, you know you're good. And you just follow those notes. So it's not a race where, like in a desert race, man, it's just pinned all the time. You see an arrow, you make that turn. With rally, you have to read those notes, you have to comprehend them, you have to memorize them, preferably. And a good rally racer can remember 2 or 3 notes ahead. I can't, but they can remember 2 or 3 notes ahead, and then just make the correct decisions on your turns. It's really cool because it's more challenging. And there's times out there where it's like, you'll click off one turn and it's like, it's 10 kilometers to the next one. You're like, holy cow, okay, now I have 10 miles where I can just hammer down. So
it sounds like an incredible race.
It's fun. I really hope that Dave Wiley and David Ham, these guys can get something together and come down, because they will not regret it. Yeah, I bet I would venture to say that any of these guys watching, and if they come and do it, they will be back the next year, and they probably will have very little interest in racing anything in America. So,
well, racing in Mexico is always a lot of fun. Wrangell, I want to thank you so much for taking the time. I know that you were a little under the weather, and this was sprung on you really, really quick. But I appreciate it. The ink's still drying on the story, and it's only been a few days since the end of it. So we're going to get this published actually next Tuesday. This story will come out on our audio shows, and by the next weekend we'll have it on our YouTube.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on, and as usual, it's always great to talk with you, and appreciate you covering the sport, because without guys like you, it would be less visible for sure.
Well, I'm doing the best I can with my limited resources, and you just keep doing it, and I'll keep following it, and we'll keep this story going, and maybe one of these days you get me to ride along and enjoy it with you.
Well, you're more than welcome.
No, I'm not going to ride you through in a race. It's not going to happen.
Come on.
Not going to happen. I may ride it at the finish line, but I am not going to ride it. It's okay.
Yeah. You can do it.
No, my wife won't allow me.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. They're in her purse for anybody that's asking.
Yeah. That's funny.
All right, brother. You have a great night. And Wrangell, again, thank you so much. And I'm glad that you guys had a good race. I'll be catching up with Julian and getting him on and getting his take on it.
Absolutely. Julian, by the way, Julian did such a fantastic job. He's a great rider. And I just want to say something real quick. Day one, I lost some time because I was so tired and couldn't think straight, and he made up a bunch of time, and but he did fantastic riding, and he's great on the team. So great dude.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Excellent. We'll get him on the show and find out what he thought of it as well.
Absolutely. Awesome.
All right, brother. Have a great night. Thank you very much.
The team here at ATV-TALK would love your feedback. Please email it.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to share us with your family and friends. The podcast is available on all streaming platforms, and you can find us on social media as ATV-TALK Podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter.